Started. So, namaste. I'm actually very happy about the way this is all evolving. I'm not going to be doing the race practice sessions for this month for a couple of reasons. One is because Anant, I think, needs some time to just relax. The second thing is because I think we really need to talk about the 4E's. So we can explore a few things as we are doing the session, but for April, we are going to focus more on the parent. I'm also trying to invite Ujjwal's colleague, Vincent. Vincent and Divya are both dancers, and they do a lot of theater activities. He's also trained in theater arts for holistic development, and he does a lot of theater activities with his son Divin, who's like 4 years old. So I'm trying to invite them for next week. So let us see, how we can best evolve it. What I also decided is let us focus on the 4E's, because as I mentioned in the last session, Dr. Ambika Kameshwar said that basically, if you're doing a TAHD, you're doing the 4E's, right? Which are the exploration, experience, expression, and enjoyment. So these are the 4E's that are very important in theatre arts for holistic development. And it's good to know that even for raise. So for example, if you're doing a song, or if you're doing a mandala art, whatever it is, we have to have the enjoyment in it, for example. Okay, so we want to lead with enjoyment. It's not about pushing someone to do something. I've also started thinking about it as the 4E's of education. Think about it. If education were built on these 4E's, that is, you always kept your eye on enjoyment. You supported or facilitated exploration. You did, you created worthwhile experiences and then encouraged expression. So think about that kind of a model of education. And the reason I'm calling it the 4E's of education is then it can flow through from fill your cup, which is basically saying we use these 4E's to nourish the parent and child physically, mentally, and emotionally, to holistic development, which parents have always done. They take their children to different places, they do different activities with them at home. So parents have always supported holistic development of their children in different ways. And finally, more formal education, skills development. So I think we can think about the 4E's across all three categories. And that's why we have the three groups. The first one is fill your cup. The second one is living holistic development. And third one is homeschooling the TAHD way. So 4E's cut across all these. So that is my thinking right now. Now I'm going to think about, we're going to start with the concept of enjoyment. So for this whole month, let us focus on enjoyment. So what is the end goal? When I'm learning a skill, I shared today about how I like creating posters and sharing them every day. I enjoy that activity, right? I like creating the posters in Canva. I enjoy, sharing my content that way. I enjoy interacting with people about that. And then I also enjoy the interactions that follow. So enjoyment is a core part of why I do this, right? And then I create explorations. I've been exploring sharing in a lot of different ways, and it's finally taking a certain shape. It's finally now all my sharing is going to organize around the 4E's. So that is where it's going. I'm going to have a question of the week. The question of this week is enjoyment for parents. So I'd actually like to invite, whether you have the video on or off, I'd like to invite the parents to share something about at least one thing that they enjoy doing for themselves. Monica, you want to start? Or
Sorry, if anyone else is starting, it's okay.
no, it's okay. Manju,
No, no, no.
why don't you go ahead, Manju?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, actually, In this journey, actually, to tell you the truth, from the starting, we have made a point as a family that we have understood this big thing that if I am enjoying something, then only I can ask another person to even try it.
Mhm.
Okay, so to be an example to my daughter, to set an example for her, we have showed enjoying things. Like, for example, craft is something my daughter finds it very difficult to do. Like, if you know the fine motor and how we have to, I mean, to handle that paper thing, doing craft is very, very difficult. And maybe I also don't enjoy it that much. But when I started doing it, craft activities, she started coming and sitting with me and enjoying it herself. But she will not sit for a long time. She will sit for like maybe more, not more than a minute. She will sit and she will just observe me and she will go away. But in the years, I have started doing craft activities from like past, I think, 4 years. So in 4 years, I have seen that change in her, like showing interest, coming and sitting with me, trying a little and leaving it. So I was okay with it. I was enjoying it myself. And I was okay, acha, let's not force her. Let's not ask her to do things. Let's see how it progresses. So we, as a parent, we also don't have that patience to like sit and let them observe and let them not do anything. So that is a big
Yes.
learning for me, where I learned that I should enjoy what I'm doing. Then only I can ask any other person to enjoy it. Thank you. That's it.
Manju, that's a great point. It's actually exactly the same point Bharati made. She said when we enjoy, we can enjoy something and let the other person be, right? They want to join, they can join. They don't want to join, they don't have to join, right? And that actually you can flip that around too, because we have a very interesting situation because Anant is the trained Bharatanatyam dancer, right? I am a newbie. So when Ujjwal and Anant are dancing, I'm like, not for me. I can do this, right? So it works the other way too, where other people may be enjoying something and we may not enjoy it, right? And then to slowly, now I've actually started becoming a part of the race class because I did find whether, good or bad is not the issue, but I'm more comfortable singing along. So now I requested Ujjwal, let's do the devotional songs, we'll sing together. And what that does is, and I do the adavas with Anant, and that shifts the dynamics very beautifully because if I put the computer on, we play the out of the song and we are both doing it. My attention is more on trying to get the adavu myself rather than correcting his posture or correcting something. So I think Bharati also made this point that enjoyment has a lot to do with connection. So if you're both just trying something together, that connection is better and you have more enjoyment. So I think enjoyment, connection, not really correcting, lying low, I think all of these go together. So anybody else? Gitanjali?
Ma'am, actually, you both said that enjoyment and connection. But for me, it was like enjoyment and consistency. I started enjoying the activity, so I was able to be consistent so that so,
Yeah.
so that Mihir also got regulated and he came into the track because
Yeah.
previously I did many activities like skating and so many things like household works and all, but I never enjoyed playing with Mihir because I was a studious student and I never played. I don't know how to play also. I used to get very angry. But starting with the drawing, I started enjoying drawing. Then later TAHD, especially that Dawn is Rising song,
Yes.
which really if I had not enjoyed that thing, it would be very difficult for me to do 1.5 year with Mihir and make him sit.
Yes.
So I link enjoyment with consistency. Now
That
I don't take any activity which I don't enjoy.
Yeah, actually, Gitanjali, that's a great point about enjoyment and consistency because I have been now sharing for more than 5 years, because it's not just with parents. Before that, I used to share professionally in systems thinking groups. That's where I started. Okay. Now, if I didn't truly enjoy creating the content and sharing, it would never have lasted this long. It doesn't matter whether it benefits other people or not. First I have to enjoy it, right? And if I don't enjoy it, it will not happen. So I'm just happy that, like Monica always says, okay, even 4 people like this, it's good because it's benefiting 4 people means it benefits 4 people. For me, when I started, there was I still remember one friend of mine, Michael, who was a retired printer from New York. He would always reply every day. Whenever I posted, he would always take a few minutes to reply to my post, and that was very encouraging. Others may respond here and there, but just having that one person who consistently responded was very helpful. It kept me on track because it took a lot, it has taken, I don't know how many years for the work to really take shape, right? Now I can reach more people because it has crystallized and become clean. That takes a long time, right? But for somebody in the very sort of beginning stages, when it's all here and there, for somebody to really take a few minutes to reply, that was very encouraging. So for my kind of thing, like when I'm creating content, even one person responding, I realized how important that was. Now what happens is, it's very interesting. I don't see too much interaction in the group. There have been phases when there were more people, just sharing. But it's interesting, as we have gone more towards practice and we're talking about specific things to implement, I'm finding that people are wanting to connect with me individually. They're not posting in the group. So Suchita, I was happy to see Suchita's share today about the mandala. I'm hoping that there'll be a little bit more sharing in the group, because then we can build off of each other. But I'm getting now, the individual interaction has actually gone up. So coming back to consistency, it's very important. From consistency, I would go to habit. For me, it is my morning habit. The first thing I get up after having coffee, the first thing I do is create my Canva poster or some resource and post it. Okay. So that gives me a consistency. It's something enjoyable for me. And I've started my day with something enjoyable. You can also call it a keystone habit, because it's something that I've been doing for many years. So this is what I would encourage everyone to consider. Is there something that can become or is a keystone habit? That is something, at least one thing that you enjoy for at least 10 minutes a day, and that you just do it every day. Because I think enjoyment as a keystone habit can really help us, because this is a marathon. It's not anything that's getting fixed anytime soon, because we are trying to raise our children in an environment that is not designed for them. So it is hard. It's a lifelong thing. I mean, we have different battles when they're 4 years old, and we have different battles when they're 30 years old, but there is something going on all the time, right? So I encourage, as a parent of a 28-year-old adult, I strongly encourage people to invest in enjoyment, because otherwise you're going to burn out. So that would be my suggestion. So if you have one thing that keeps me going is, in the morning I get up, and at least 15 minutes or 20 minutes before everyone wakes up, that's my enjoyment habit. And slowly you add more habits that you enjoy. Now I'm enjoying singing with Anant. So, the devotional song that Ujjwal started for Anant for the Ramanotsavam, that's actually proving to be very helpful, because now Anant and I are singing every day. So the question I want people to consider, and thank you, Gitanjali, for bringing up the consistency idea. What is it that you do every day? And Suchita, you had mentioned that Ira likes the mandala. And if both of you enjoy mandala, maybe that is something that could become a habit. So Anant has several of them. Anant likes listening to music, and he likes mandala and so on. But we'll discuss children's things more later. But I think the idea that I want to leave everyone with today is, find at least one thing that you like. And believe me, I have not been consistent about that except for this Canva poster. So only today I was realizing how important that was for me. Whatever else I do or I don't do, I don't have much time. I enjoy interacting with people. but I never really get a chance to, when I was a full-time professor and homeschooling, I didn't have any time to interact with anyone. I couldn't attend social gatherings or any of that. So that is when I actually started sharing online, because it gave me a way to connect to people, and it's become a habit. And with that, I'm, hopefully helping other people too. So Monica, you had any thoughts, or Suchita or Muthukumari? Any,
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
actually, yeah, ma'am. So I
uh,
think, ma'am, so what happened was that I and Daksh were started to cook, ma'am.
yeah.
And we were packing gents, the lunch box, the lunches, lunch and everything. So that was, and then he's getting a lot of personal agencies because everybody will say, oh, you Daksh, you cook well, and everybody has to know and everything. But sometimes now what he is doing is he was starting to leave the framework. So although it was a lot about enjoying and all, I wonder that what happens if you could answer that, ma'am. We start something
Mm.
and the children start enjoying it and we are being consistent, and then why do they start leaving the framework?
Mm. I think it somewhere for us, somewhere it has probably shifted away from enjoyment. It's it's probably become a little bit more transactional. Oh, we have to get this done, something like that.
Yeah.
That could be because it's very easy to slide there, I think.
maybe,
Yeah,
Manju,
correct.
I think
maybe since it's
Yeah, I wanted to
something
just add,
consistent,
sorry,
very
I think Manju had something to say. Manju, go ahead.
so, where she asked for this, so what I felt like saying, like I couldn't control myself, but I wanted to say that same thing has happened with me as well. So, what I have observed is that we go more into it and we are very excited and we start pushing the child where we don't, we miss it out that they are getting little, oh, I mean, we are getting overboard. Like we are, we want them to do more and we want to like want them to carry that enjoyment, but we have to remember that they are children, they have their own thoughts, they have their own brain, and they want to be like, they don't want us to push them. Like we push out of excitement actually. It is like the way Ramaka said, over enjoyment. Like we are so much into enjoyment, we forget that it is another person who is sitting with us, and they have their own limitations, and they want to stop and take a break and go away, and we have to be like accepting it, like more accepting, because I see this in many other parents who come for training as well, with RDI, that we get overexcited and we want them to stay with us for long time, but we have to accept that it won't happen like that all the time. Like sometimes we have to just let go and be acceptable of the situation. I hope that answers your question. I
Yeah.
tried my best.
Ma'am, I want to add one another point here. Like, yeah, yeah. Like, if we set goal to their enjoyment, Mihir loves vegetable cutting. But if I say, Mihir, we bought carrots and kheera, no, you only have to cut this. When I said that goal, he will not like it.
Yes.
Ha. And this is one point, like even in with the Dutch also, like doing, and the second point, doing every day. Like if I am very much consistent here, you only cut vegetables, you do very nicely, no? Somewhere indirectly we are saying that this is your responsibility, and I don't think that our kids are ready for that now. Uh, so indirectly we are saying that you become responsible and all. So it is important to take a break, to give them a break consciously with the thing which they are enjoying.
Great point.
I
And
observed that with
actually,
my
Gitanjali, what you said about goal got me thinking. And this is the same. See, Anant has been doing this Fun with Hasta video series for Rasa web channel. So for the first 15, 16, it was going really well. And then that's it, he wouldn't do. And I think what had happened was before we were having consistent, it was a daily habit, right? It was like daily he would either learn a little bit of the sloka, learn a little bit of the song, learn a little bit of the story. Daily he was doing a little bit. And it was never, Anant, we have to get this project done, right? So the moment you go into, you have to get the project done, he's pushing back. So for a few months, he didn't. And then I realized if you switch from goal to rhythm, every day we are doing something. And then he tells me, okay, today let us go to the shrine and record this. So he's been pushing me, saying, let's go to the shrine today and record the next story. And he'll plan everything out and he'll decide what kurta he wants to wear for the recording. Everything he'll decide and he'll go. So I've let him lead the goal part. And I realized he's doing it really well. Like, we keep doing something daily and he's signaling, now I'm ready, let's go and record it. So that's another thing to think about. He does push back on goals. I do notice that.
Maybe they
Yeah.
should not be too much serious about the activity which they are enjoying.
Yes. I think we may have a tendency, oh, he enjoys this, and we try to make it to a skill
Ah,
development thing. That's
because
probably
I
what happens.
remember I used to sing very nicely. My mom said she is a diploma in music. She used to teach me every day. Did you practice? Did you practice? Oh, Amma, don't teach me. I don't want music now. So don't be so serious or consistent. I cannot take it. And now when I think, same problem with Mihir also. Yes, I love drawing, but don't ask me to draw. Ask me to practice it every day. Here comes what you said, fill your cup. If we have so many activities, then we can switch and little less seriousness.
Yes.
Maybe that will help.
Manju, I think you had something to say. Manju?
No, actually, I mentioned it already, but in case you people want to listen to me again, then uh, the way Geetanjali said, it makes so much sense actually that we have to slow down and we have to give them that opportunity that they sit with us and they just observe it and we don't push it that much on them. It really makes sense, right? I mean, and I feel that it's not the parent fault also. We have been brought up like that, and we start building a lot of expectations from our child, and we want to take them to the next level. We are setting up goals and all, but it doesn't work like that. So even with happens with Lavanya, wherein we will decide that we will make something today like that. We'll decide she will start the activity with me, but then she will get bored and she will would want to go away. So I don't bring her back and tell her to continue because I understood, Acha, it's like because she loves me so much that she wants to join with me and start it, but then she also loves herself too much. So she has to go
Yeah.
away as well.
Yes. Manju, that's an excellent point. I think we are coming to a very key point on enjoyment, which is boundaries. And what I mean by that is thinking about what I enjoy versus what the child really enjoys. And as you said, because I really, really enjoy something, maybe Anant will come and watch me do a Canva poster, but that may not be the thing that he really enjoys, right? He may enjoy something totally different. So it's a question of, them joining what we enjoy, but also we can join. This is what is happening to me with Anant and Ujjwal now. I'm trying to join into something where I don't know anything. And I'm trying to join something that I'm a beginner and I'm joining something that he enjoys. And the other thing is things change over time. Because of everything he's been through, he's been pushing back against dance, but he's also wanting, to go to piano. He's reconnecting to piano. He wants to write. He wants, so I think what they enjoy also changes with time. And I think we have to allow for that as well. So this is really where the homeschooling is powerful, right? Because we can work with what we enjoy, we can work with what our child enjoy, and this comes back to the what I've been saying for a long time: follow your rhythm. So especially for our children, boxing them into a school environment where they have to do exactly this thing at this time is very difficult. It's hard enough for NTs, but I think for our children with all their other challenges, to do that, it's very hard. So homeschooling, I think, actually opens up the door to enjoyment based learning quite naturally. So if anybody is thinking about homeschooling, that would be a powerful argument. You can really structure your educational process around enjoyment. So I think, Suchita, you had a question.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I understand enjoyment is a great tool because I felt it on my own way also. Like if I, for example, very basic example, when I got married, it's like not my daughter's example, my example. I never liked cooking, and I was forced into cooking after marriage. And I used to cook, but like bilkul bina dil ke. So whatever I'm making, I'm just making it. after Ira, for my love towards Ira, I just started making different foods so that she can try different food, she can try different texture and all that. And all of a sudden, I just realized over the past few years that my cooking has enhanced quite well. So I see that enjoyment is certainly a big thing because that creates your mindset and it's everything.
Yeah.
But how to in Ira's case, like I love art also.
Yeah.
So I'm making her do art and craft things since like quite some long time back. But I still see she's not too much interested in art. Probably not her thing, or probably she finds very difficult in fine motor skills.
Yeah.
But somehow I was watching too many mandalas on the groups, various groups with Anand also. And I was very fascinated. And I always thought that Ira has visual perception issues. She
Yeah.
has very much difficulty in pattern recognition,
Yeah.
so she probably will not be able to do the mandala. But for my surprise, if you see that picture of mandala, na, where seven
Yeah.
mandalas are there, I have sorted them in date wise. If you will see the first picture has very big circles, very big design, so that she can see. I just made it like that. And in the last, I started making it very small. And to my surprise, she was enjoying it so much. She was like doing it on her own. I was not even with her. I was away from the room. She was doing it. That was one thing which we wanted to achieve. But mandala is what I feel, not offending anybody. Mandala is not a real life skill. In real life, there are different skills which are being used. Though she's enjoying mandala, but I want to how to put
Ah,
this enjoyment thing
okay.
into a real life scenario learning.
Okay. So this is where, when you say mandala is not a real life skill, but you have to think about which real life skills is it leading to. First of all, writing, right?
Hmm.
Writing is a lot of fine motor, right?
Yeah.
And giving them a black and white pencil and making them write with between the lines is, you're pushing the child to what they're not ready for. Now, I'll take the example of Anant and reading. There were some
Hmm.
gaps, I mean, it was not like he was not reading at all, but it was not where it needed to be, right?
Hmm.
And funnily, the gap for him was auditory processing, because we have done a lot of visual tools and everything, but really, practically speaking, you can't sit down with the Ramayana and then keep on drawing a picture for every sentence, right? That's not going to work. So what happened with Ujjwal, and this is sort of a 3-year story, right? And we started in October 2022. Anand just showed a lot of interest in stories, right? I mean, from the beginning, he was just watching Ujjwal narrate stories and he would just listen with rapt attention. We just let it be, right? And then all of a sudden, 3 years later, I have no, I to this day, I have no clue how it happened, because we had, of course, done a lot of work. We had worked on a lot of skills and so on. Suddenly, something
Uh-huh.
clicked, and he's really processing the Ramayana at an entirely different level. So I think it is not linear. So if a person is showing interest in mandala and resisting
Hmm.
writing, I say go with the mandala, because eventually it's going to lead to writing, because color is
Hmm.
engaging. Anant loves color. I mean, he will sit with mandala and he'll just and he's very good. He'll just pick up. I mean, I don't even know how he chooses his colors. He'll just pick up very quickly one after the other, and he'll it's very interesting to watch him color. He'll color one part, then goes color some other part of the mandala. It's very interesting how he does it, but it's very he never seems to stop and think. It seems like he just
Hmm.
has a feel for this color goes here and that color goes there. I don't know why, but he just does it like that. So you're probably going to what he's able to do, right? And what he's enjoying. And that will eventually pave the way for skills that you're saying are real life. And for all mandala itself is a real life thing, right? I mean, you can make money from arts also. But it also, leads to other things over time. So I think that is why I was making
Yeah.
the distinction between holistic development and skill development, because holistic development is all these things, like auditory processing, paying attention, staying on task, listening, the emotional expression. Right now, if she's doing mandala and she's going, "Oh, this is great," and both of you do, and that's far better than everybody getting irritated. Oh, you still are not able to write the A or B or whatever it is, right? So I think just that emotional quality of the experience, all of these things are there when you do something that you enjoy. So I think That's very important. The other very important learning, more than any academic skill, I come back to introception, right? I think it's about how we feel. And this is something that's, if you read, I would strongly suggest people read Kelly Mahler's work. There are many others. And she talks a lot about introception, and if her children are always being pushed, now write, I'm not ready to write, but write. I don't want to sit. It's very uncomfortable for me. Sit for half an hour. You're constantly making them do things that they don't want to do, are not able to do, are not ready for. Think about it. What is that doing to them? Are they really going to become any more in tune with themselves? So that is what Kelly Mahler asks. She says, if you go for a very compliance-based approach, so this is a huge problem with Anant, right? This is, it's only now, I mean, it's very difficult to deal with some of this, but he's very in tune with himself, telling, no, he's even now telling, I won't do the dance with bright lights. Maybe I'll do it in the shrine without the bright lights. He's becoming very aware of, what is working for him and what's not working for him. Ultimately, what is more important than knowing for yourself what is, and especially as a neurodivergent person, just knowing what is okay and not okay. To me, that's the single most important thing to learn. And our kids have a hard time with it. And then if you keep pushing them into compliance, that's not going to happen, because you're just teaching them to shut down their system and go with whatever demands are being made on them. So anyone wants to respond? I think we just have a couple of minutes. So if anybody wants to respond to that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
actually.
totally agree with you, and I just wanted to add that many people, when they see Lavanya's videos and all, they are like, she is not on the spectrum, she is this, she is that. But I know the struggle at home, right? So I know I've lived with her 24/7, so I know from where she has come. So I wanted to tell this, that homeschooling decision was also taken because she was not at all ready to write the way writing skills we are talking about. And I started making her write like very recent, like maybe it is 4 years back, we started writing together. And lot of, if any parent is listening who wants some ideas, like as we were talking about mandala, I want to mention that please start with clay work. It really helps, like letting the child just play with clay. They will just pick it up and throw it here and there. They will not do it meaningfully. That is totally okay. But at least give it a daily basis, give some clay to play with. I know buying clay, it will cost a lot of money because we will keep on buying and it will get wasted, then we'll throw away. So I make clay at home. I give that made clay which I store in fridge and I remove and give it daily. So that has really helped. Like again, when we see all this now, we feel like, Are, how it will help, how it will help. But in the long run, you will understand the benefits of it. Therapeutic also has helped a lot, playing with therapeutic
The
and
other
playing
one
with
which
clay.
Anant was very
So a lot
fond
of,
of is folding circles. And maybe we can do a session on that. He used to
yeah.
love folding circles and coloring. And again,
Mm.
the folding, that gives a lot of motor. He's folded for years, and that really helped him. So if you think about it, it's all developing, ultimately think about it. We have the motor system, we have the emotional expression. Why do theater activities help? You're combining movement, speech, and emotional expression. Very important. And till Anand came to Theatre Arts for Holistic Development, we knew 20 years back that we have to work on non-verbal, all these things. But telling me to work on non-verbal, yes, I may look like this, I may try to use non-verbal, it is not teaching him. He has too many motor challenges. It is only after coming to Bharatanatyam and then theatre arts that his system has picked up. It is through that training, because in Indian Natya, and that is why I champion race so much, because the Indian Natya combines emotional expression, movement, and Ujjwal does a great job of connecting language to it. So that is why Anant has made such gains with him. And so we have to really think about what are the underlying skills. So when you start, instead of just pushing reading, because reading has a lot of skills. Just eye tracking is a problem. What solved eye tracking for Anant? Bharatanatyam. He didn't had convergence problems. It was not vision therapy. It's Bharatanatyam that fixed it. Because you have a lot of eye movements in Bharatanatyam, it got fixed. So if you think in terms of holistic development, always work on holistic development goals. And then you have to say that the other things will come, but a little bit later. And it'll also give you a clue, why certain things are not working. So I realize now that the sudden jump in reading is because a big gap for Anant in auditory processing has been addressed now. So that has made a lot of difference. So, so the
If you
more
start with folding, then do please inform me as well. Like I will love
okay,
to
sure.
start. Maybe ask Anand to do it if he's
Yes,
interested. Then we
yes,
can make a video and send, and we can
yes,
copy him.
yes. We'll do that. I'll
Folding
have Anant
sentence.
make videos and send on folding. Because again, a consistency. He never liked origami. He only loved whole movement because it's very consistent. You keep on folding the same